Hello everyone, hi, how are you guys doing today? Welcome back to another episode reaction to Buffy the Vampire Slayer. This is Haarute, my name is Matt, hello, what's up? Okay, so, Buffy. Last week, what happened? Kathy happened. My takeaway after I finished thinking about it was just like, yeah, I approached this episode with a different mentality than I should have. I should approach this episode not thinking about it, and I probably would have had more fun. I still had fun with the episode. It's just the process of watching things for me is usually first is the experience, and then it's the like digestion process. The experience of the episode itself wasn't bad. It was just after it ended, I just thought about it and I was like, well, I don't. Now it's like worse, but yeah, it's fine. It's mostly fine. It's just like one random episode. I think that my expectations of the show were definitely raised because of like the last 10 episodes of season 3, but now that we go back to something that's more simple, that felt weird to me. But that's just a me thing. Yeah, we'll see what happens now. Episode 3, season 4. I also was told that I should watch Angel 1-3 after I watch this, so I haven't watched Angel 1-3 yet. I watched Angel 1-2. My report on Angel 1-2 was that it was pretty fun. I got to the conclusion that I'm just watching Torchwood now, which is a good thing because I like Torchwood. Like, yeah, in the second episode of Torchwood, there was also someone that killed you when you fucked them. So it really is just the same show, essentially. So yeah, I think we should begin. I'm hungry, and I feel like I should record this quickly before I go make a meal, and then maybe I'll record the review later. Yeah, that's my plan right now, so I'm just gonna start now. Patreon. Check out the Patreon, link in the description below, pop up on screen. You can support the channel and watch the next 2 episode reactions to Buffy already, as well as full-length reactions. And also, I don't know how much I'm going to be able to do this, but I posted my... essentially me watching Angel 1-2 to Patreon as well. It's not edited, it's just like me and the episode like right here. And I can't upload that to YouTube because it gets blocked, but I managed to upload it to Patreon. And that's not really a real reaction or review. Like half the episode I'm like on my phone and shit, and I'm just like talking about it. Though near the ending I kind of turned on my brain and I started just talking about it. Like I don't consider it to be content too much, but I decided that if I'm gonna be watching Angel on my own time, then might as well just record it. So that's what I did, but I can't edit it. That's the problem. So I can't put it on YouTube because editing is a time-consuming process and I don't have that. So yeah, it's just going up on Patreon completely raw, unedited, and it's just me like chilling, just slouch over here. I pull up my phone and I'm just like, yeah, oh man, Angel just kicked the dude, man. That's crazy. That's great. So I upload that to Patreon. If you're interested in that, it's there, but I'm not gonna advertise it too much because I don't think it's worthy of that. But yeah, that's what I'm gonna be doing with all the Angel episodes that I'm not reacting to. I will react to episode 8, 9, and 10 in the near future. In a couple months, but yeah, whenever I get there I'll do that. Anyway, that's it for the Angel report this week. But yeah, I'm just gonna be watching Buffy now. So Buffy the Vampire Slayer season 4 episode 3, let's go.
You know, when you spend all week with a boy, you are allowed to look at him directly.
We hung out.
Okay, so
Incessantly.
okay, he's a character. That's the thing about Buffy characters, is that I never know if they're gonna matter beyond the one episode they're in. So I wasn't sure if Parker was gonna show up again.
They're not wrong feelings, because there's no wow.
Wise words from Willow.
I just want to let you know I'm heading out. It's not real safe around here, so if you walk back to your dorm.
How silly of me not to plan ahead. Willow?
Who?
Harmony, hey, haven't seen you since graduation.
God, that was the bully girl.
Oh, I was gonna go to France.
Was you good girl?
I changed a bit. No.
What's up with you?
Oh, maybe
Vampire? Yeah, okay.
Okay, fine. Hide behind your boyfriend. I have a boyfriend too, and he's gonna be mad that you were mean to me.
You have a scar.
Right.
Oh, that's the angel scar. Okay.
And I'm not doing the deep get sympathy routine. I mean, don't you just hate guys who are all, I'm dark and brooding, so give me love.
Very self-aware.
When you go to sleep tonight, what are you gonna regret not doing today?
I'm going to regret being too nervous to ask you to go to the party at Wolf House tomorrow night.
Don't get your crazy system.
System? It's called the alphabet.
Oh, is Santa just gonna become like Giles' assistant?
Anya?
Yeah, like
Last
why?
time I saw you fleeing in terror.
I need to talk to Xander. Go away. Xander, come with me.
Whatever. Okay, sure. I mean, I'm happy to see her, but like,
Need some money and...
Where's our relationship going?
Our what?
what?
What kind do we have, and what is it progressing toward?
It's okay. She doesn't understand human connection.
I can't stop thinking about you.
Aw.
Sometimes in my dreams, you're all naked.
Okay.
Really? You know, if I'm in the checkout line at the Walmart, I've had that same one.
I can assume a standing Friday night date and a mutual recognition of prom night is our dating anniversary.
Anya, slow down. These things kind of have to develop on their own.
True.
How?
I don't know. Just...
We can start by spending time together. Not going to like dates and stuff, but just like talking. Ah, I'm glad Annie's here. I like Annie. Annie's cool.
Hey. Hi. Hi. Remember Harmony?
And she's a little different. Paler.
Is your neck okay?
Nick. Puppy, the angry puppy.
Yeah, we came to warn you about the angry puppy.
Girl, just leave.
Harmony's a vampire? She must be dying without a reflection.
The thing about her saying, oh, my boyfriend's gonna be mad, means that the boyfriend is an important character. That's what that means to me.
Must be like the most tolerant guy in the world.
Punchline. Hell yeah. You know what? I thought Spike, like, minutes ago, because I saw him in the intro, and I was like, could be him. I don't know. That might be old footage, but I saw, like, an image of him, and I was like, it could be him. What happened to Drusilla, man? I like Drusilla. I hope we see her again. I don't care if it's with Spike. I just want to see her again. What are we doing, by the way? We're dwarfs now? Kind of had to see Spike back. Spike's cool.
Blondie bear.
He's not a bear. Let's be honest with ourselves.
Nobody knows I'm here. Now, I'm not killing the Slayer's best friend, as that would tend to announce my presence, and we're too bloody close.
Okay, what are they doing then? What is the plan here? What are they digging for? He has some kind of goal that is completely unrelated to Buffy, so...
This one tastes funny.
He's perfectly fresh.
I think I had a math
He's
class
not.
with Mom. Right here, baby. In front of Brian.
I like that clearly the person that they were in life is part of the personality of the vampire version as well. Dude, I saw a guy juggling a couple weeks ago. I saw a dude juggling machetes. Just straight on machetes. He was just juggling that shit on the street for money. And I was like, dude. Ooh. What's
What
up?
a cute outfit.
It's interesting. Sort of a double date. I like it.
Do we all just pretend?
How we met? It's a funny story, really.
Oh, we're fighting. No, they're just running away. Okay. They got away, I guess, in that one cut.
Drew dump you again?
Maybe I dumped her.
Ooh.
She left him for a fungus demon. That's all he talks about most days.
It isn't time yet.
Yeah, but as soon as we have the gem of Amara, you're gonna be so...
Girl! Girl! Oh man, this is interesting because every time Spike shows up, you like him more. Because like at the end of season 2, he actually helped. Oh, okay, Anya's scene. Let's focus on Anya now. I like Anya.
She also said to ask you to have fabric softener when the timer goes off. Can we talk some more?
Yeah, I suppose. It is customary to call before you show up. Not that.
Sure.
The gem of Amara, are you sure? It's not real.
That means it is.
The source of some enormous power was conveniently vague. No one found it. It was concluded that it never existed.
Well, Spike seems to think it exists, and he's looking in Sunnydale.
If there's a place it would be.
Is Antonio Banderas a vampire? Can I make him a vampire?
No. Wait, on second thought, yeah. Go do that. Do Melanie and the kids as well.
Hey, I don't have a pulse. Cool.
Oh my.
Can we eat a doctor so I can get a stethoscope?
What I was gonna say, it's fun that every time Spike shows up, he's... Because at the end of season 2, he actually helped. In season 3, he showed up and he was like, oh, my girlfriend dumped me. And then now,
Just because Dorcas went in for that.
like,
True Scylla.
put some respect to her name.
Dorcas,
Bite your tongue.
do it for me.
I don't think this is a healthy relationship.
Matter is
Oh,
brought
we're
to a
back here.
conclusion with both parties satisfied and able to move on with their separate lives and interests. I think it's the secret to getting you out of my mind. Putting you behind me figuratively. I'm thinking face to face for the event itself.
Okay, we have a preferred position.
You have a certain directness that I admire, but sexual it's about expressing something and accepting consequences.
Oh, I
Okay.
have condoms. Some are black.
That's very considerate.
I like you. You're funny and you're nicely shaped, and frankly, it's ludicrous to have these interlocking bodies and not interlock. Please remove your clothing now.
Still more romantic than Faith.
You and he used to, like, go out?
That bassist is hot. I like that bassist. She's cool. I wonder if it's a real band or not. The subtitles seem to imply that it was. Man, everyone's banging tonight.
Call me, I need to talk to you right away.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, where did my guy go? Also, where are we? Is this his bedroom?
You're up.
You're here.
I live here.
Do you have plans today, or?
Actually, my mom's coming to visit.
But maybe we could, talk or something later.
Absolutely, I'll give you a call.
Great.
Okay. How are you feeling?
So I'm over you now.
You're not. That's not how this works.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah?
Now she's hurt. What is she write?
I'm writing Spike Loves Harmony on your back.
He clearly still loves Drusilla.
You love that tunnel more than me.
Yes.
Syphilis more than you.
Yeah.
Giles. I didn't know you were here. I was, studying. You know what? I'm an adult, and it's none of your business where I was.
And I'm sincerely relieved to hear it.
Okay.
Why don't you guys try and locate the crypt? Now I'll see if I can find Spike before he gets
I'm starting to think maybe it's just not real.
It happened, right? Did it happen with Parker?
She's so excited.
It's here! I knew it was here.
No one leaves the lair till we're in. Don't want the Slayer tracking anyone to the tunnel. And that means you, Harm. You're an indoor kitty now.
You said you'd take me places. You said we'd go to France, and now I can't even leave the lair?
I love that everyone's like, oh, fucking damn it, again with this.
This gem is everything. I came back to Sunnydale for it. A place which has witnessed some truly spectacular kickings of my ass. Now, stay inside. And by the way, I would be insanely happy if from this point on I heard bugger all about sodding France.
That's a good line. I feel the same way.
I don't know why I let you be so mean to me.
Love hurts, baby.
Okay. Girl, you should just leave. That relationship is very interesting, actually, between those two characters.
You've got one new message.
I'm a Giles.
No.
Parker call yet?
It's Willow. Okay, so it's nighttime and he didn't call at all. Watch him be with another girl. That's what the quote-unquote mom was. It was just another girl or something like that. Oh, we're here now? That was a weird cut from music to here. It happened like twice this episode. Hey!
Pretty. Can I take stuff?
Take whatever you want, I don't care.
Watch her take... What Spike took wasn't the real gem. She's gonna take the real gem. She's gonna become God or whatever.
You don't look any different, if you wondered.
Cross.
You should put some butter on that. Maybe it's worth money anyway. That would be something. And then we could go to France. And I always wanted to go to France and stay in a chateau. And you could take me shopping and...
Wow.
Can't believe you just did this!
So...
Hold on.
Yeah, that's it. It's the ring.
What are you doing, you big freak?
That's my gem.
Fine, if that's all that matters to you, then just take it.
Oh.
Get out!
I think I'll go play outside.
All right. What if Haarute becomes an ally?
Whoa, Giles has a TV. He's shallow like us.
I admit, a little disappointed.
Well, maybe it doesn't work.
Local news, area residents face traffic disruptions.
Public television. Look, come on, everyone. We have vital work to do.
He's trying to defend himself.
Any tunneling has been done in the area.
Tunneling?
This is the most
Thanks, Stevie. We owe it to you.
I mean, it hit me hard, you know.
I thought so.
Hey, Katie, you're gonna be late for class. I'll catch up later, okay?
Is it a friend of yours?
Yeah, you'd like her a bunch.
Uh,
So, what's up?
I...
Well,
Okay.
It's only been a couple of days. You need to talk to me about something?
Is everything okay?
Sure
Oh
it is.
god, she's... I mean, she's too invested.
Did I do something wrong?
Something wrong.
She's not cluing at all.
Didn't you have fun?
You had fun.
Mm-hmm.
Is that all it was?
What else was it supposed to be?
Like, you liked me.
I do, but I'm starting to feel like you thought that meant what? Some kind of commitment? Is that really what you want right now?
I just thought.
I'm sorry if you misunderstood something. I thought things were pretty clear.
I didn't mean to miss.
Girl,
I'm sorry.
she's blaming herself for it as well.
I did this all wrong.
No, it's cool. We'll hook up later.
Well, that was pathetic.
It was.
Sun beaming down in a nice non-fatal way. It's very exciting.
This day sucks for her.
Oh, do it again. It tickles. You know, in a good way. The gem of Amara.
Don't show it to her. Oh, they got here.
Harmony? Being a vampire sucks.
I was looking for you. You weren't in your musty basement.
Have you seen Buffy?
No. Well, I said I was over you. I mean,
Anya, I don't have time.
He staked me and then he took it. He tried to take it right off my finger. Like I wouldn't have just given it to him. I would have given him anything he wanted. He was my platinum baby and I loved him.
I mean, all she has to do is just take the ring from him. I mean, easy said than done, right? But, like, you can do it. I like how, like, every bystander just disappeared the moment the fight started. Oh, he's right there, actually. Cool. I literally couldn't tell if that was Sander or Parker, by the way, from a distance.
Try the sensitive lad and get you to seduce him. That's a good trick if the girl's thick enough to buy it. Too strong? Did you bruise the boy? Whatever. Guess you're not worth the second go. Seems like someone told me as much. Who was it? Angel.
Okay. He's just being such a dick.
Take it off me this way. We both burn.
Really? Let's see.
Okay.
I like it.
It's small. Really worth getting my ribs bashed in.
Well, destroying it.
We don't destroy it.
Buffy, any vampire that gets his hands on this is going to be essentially unkillable. Oh.
Oh.
I have that gig in LA. I could swing by.
Thanks.
Oh! This is a plot convenient way for Angel to show up in sunlight and do shit in LA during the day, not just the night.
Does this always happen? Sleep with a guy and he goes all evil? I'm just a fool.
Well, maybe you made a mistake, but that's okay.
Parker said it's okay to make mistakes. It was sweet.
No, it wasn't. He was saying that so you would take a chance and sleep with him. He's a poop head.
You're right. He's manipulative and shallow. Why doesn't he want me? Am I repulsive? Maybe Parker and I could still work it out.
Girl?
I think you're missing something about the whole poop head principle.
I think I'm gonna go take a walk.
You sure?
Yeah.
Oh, right there. Hi. Okay. That's a fun shot. I was about to say maybe they all just walk into each other, but no. Okay, it's interesting that Harmony is still around. So I just had something to eat, and while I was cooking, I was thinking about, you know, this episode, and I was thinking about, like, kind of what is the purpose of some of the relationship drama that we get sometimes, you know? And specifically in this case, with Parker over here. It's always intriguing for me to watch something like this because this is not the first time it has happened. We get boy drama in the show a lot, and a lot of the time it ends up in a place of, well, you know, they kind of suck and we just move on and we just never see them again. Like, that's just something that happens in the show sometimes. I've expressed this before, and this is just a me problem, and it's the fact that I just don't really care much for something like relationships here in a show like this, or just in general, really. And that's not to say that they don't have any purpose in a story, because they do. It's a very human thing. But at the same time, I suppose it's just alien to me, which is, again, it's just another me problem. Because we literally just met this guy last episode. And even last episode, there was really nothing about him that made it seem like you would want to hang out with him again. He was just some guy. And then this episode, we essentially get shown that Buffy's like, okay, I'm hanging out a lot with this guy. And I'm like, okay, he's going to stick around for at least 2 episodes. And it seems like that's as much as he's going to do. I don't know if they want to reuse them again in the future. They could. But right now, it just looks like, okay, that was it for Parker. But it's just alien to me because I understand that this is a coming of age show, mostly. Like, it is. And Buffy's a teenager, now young adult, and she is dealing with a lot of things that happen in your life around those ages. But the thing is that I've never been in a situation where I am able to have some kind of casual hookup, and that's not what this... Buffy didn't think that that's what this was, but that was what this was. And Parker treated it as such, but at the same time, Parker was being deceiving, so, like, part of what he's saying is true, part of what he's saying it isn't. But to me, a relationship like that would just never happen. Like, to me, relationships are something that's way more personal and intimate. Seeing something like this, I just feel like completely alien to, like something I don't understand. And that's what actually got me thinking to another story that was happening in this episode, which was Xander and Anya, because Anya is appearing in this episode again, which I'm very happy with. This episode was actually pretty good. I really enjoyed it. Let me just say that right up front. But Anya comes in and she's like, let's fuck. Just like that. I actually really like Anya last season, and I really like Anya now as well, because Anya is... she's not human, and I like that about her. My favorite thing in characters, and I don't know if I've said this before, but my favorite thing in characters is whenever a character just has, like, either they lack understanding or they don't care about, like, social norms or, like, what is acceptable or whatever. Like, it's like something they don't grasp all of this, like, invisible rules that the humans have created in society, you know? Because all of that is just man-made, and a lot of that is also very different depending on the culture you're in. I like a character that just has no understanding of that, because that's something on some level I can relate to. I really like that. So I liked Anya last season because of that. I really like Anya this season again because of that. Except that now it's like exacerbated to like 11, because now she comes in and she's like, hey, I've been thinking about you. I dream about you a lot. You're naked every time. I want to fuck you. And like the way she says it too, she doesn't have like shame or anything in that, because a lot of that is just based on your upbringing and what society tells you. It's like she doesn't have that. She doesn't have any of those filters. So she's just laying down the information and how she feels. And I like that. It is a little bit straightforward, and then Xander's response is also appropriate. And this is interesting for Xander because it actually got me thinking about Xander's character again, like while I was like cooking downstairs. I was thinking about Xander a little bit. It's interesting because Xander just said like, okay, we calm down, because, and then he explains what sex is basically. He's like, you don't just do this. This is something that's more like a connection between people. And it's like, okay, it depends on the person, like how they view sex as, but it's interesting that this is how Xander views sex himself, and this is what he actually desires. He desires some sort of connection. It has to be something special. Anya doesn't understand that, and like, it's not that Anya doesn't want that, it's that she just doesn't get it. So Anya's horny, and then she comes in and it's like, hey, let's fuck. And Xander is like, okay, back it up a step or two. Or like 10. This is something that has to be more special. And then Anya just essentially sweet talks him into doing it, and then they do. And Sanders' essential thought process when he accepted was, well, that was better than Faith. And you know what? That's true. And that's something that's interesting about Sander now to me, because he makes allusion to Faith. He brings up Faith again, and the time that they had sex. And it's this thing where, like, that was probably Sanders' first time. In fact, I don't remember, but I think he might have said something to that implication back then. And I also believe that Sander would just have his first time then, because I don't think he would have done it before that. So this is like Sander's maybe second time. I don't know if during his gig as a stripper, he had to do something else. It's cool that Sander is a character that I feel has been developing in the background a little bit more. Whenever he's on camera, he's just making jokes or whatever. So you don't actually pay much attention to it, but it has been happening. And even since like last season, you get the implication, and it's only mentioned a couple times, but it's explicitly said, so it's just true, that Sander's parents just don't give a shit about him. They don't. They're bad parents. And even in this season, he's renting the basement off of him. And it's this thing where like he lived there his entire life, and now he has to pay to stay there. Maybe when earlier this season he left, he either ran away from home, and then when he came back, his parents were like, well, now you have to pay us or whatever. Or maybe they just straight up told him, like, you gotta leave. Like, we're not gonna pay for your shit anymore. You're out of high school. Go do your life. You know, there are some parents like that, especially in like the US or cultures where it's not common for people to live in their parents' house. Couldn't be me. I'm Argentinian. Like, I live in my mom's house. My sister lives in my mom's house. My sister is some 27. I just turned 27, by the way. Like, literally 5 days ago. Yeah. So I'm 27 now. My sister is like 35, and she still lives here. And it's not like she likes money. She's a lawyer. She's successful. She just hasn't moved yet. And that's just a thing in our culture. But in North American culture, I think it's more about, you know, you gotta make your life, do your thing. Like, immediately as soon as you're out of high school or college, you're forced to just go and do your own shit and deal with your own stuff. I can imagine Sander's parents maybe did something like that to him. And he was like, okay, what if I give you money? And then they were like, sure. So now he stays there and pays them. That still sucks, by the way. That still sucks for him. So now Sander's character, like, what has been developing beyond that, beyond just giving him fucked up parents, is the fact that Sander constantly, what he desires the most is connection, right? Is some kind of intimacy even. But he doesn't usually get that. And, you know, when you're a teenager, and especially someone like Sander, I can imagine, he believes that, you know, sex is like the goal, because that's also the way sex is set up to be, and like the way society tells you it is, you know, it's like this amazing thing, or it's this like secret thing. So Sander is like, okay, I gotta get that shit, you know, that's my goal. And then he gets it with Faith, and it's just like, it's nothing. It's like literally nothing. He was like, well, all right, I'm gonna go stop a bomb now. In fact, she kicked him out. So it's like, okay, he didn't get that. After that happened, we didn't really check in with Sander too much, but it would make sense for him to just start thinking about, like, what am I doing? You know, what is my life? Like, maybe that was some kind of goal for him. And then when he got there, he was like, okay, first of all, that was a letdown. Second, what now? Maybe he did go on that journey to try and like discovering himself, and he failed. And now he's running into a situation where Anya is coming in, and Anya is like, let's fuck. And Sander is like, I don't know if I want that, because he has had one sexual encounter before in his life, and that wasn't good. Did Sander have sex before her? Like, I feel like there was some kind of episode where Sander fucked someone beyond Faith. Am I forgetting it? Like, he didn't fuck like the teacher, and he didn't fuck like the mummy, right? Who did Sander fuck? But regardless, it still stands. The point is that Sander, history with sexual intercourse is just, I keep just doing it, and that's not actually making me feel accomplished in any way. Because what Sander wants is not sex, it's intimacy. This is a problem that a lot of people fall into. This is a pitfall. So Anya just comes in, and like, Thing is that I feel like if season 1 Sander had this girl just show up and be like, hey, let's fuck. I'm literally naked in front of you. Let's do it. Let's go. I feel like season 1 Sander would have been like, hell yeah. This Sander feels like, okay, no. Like, listen, we gotta... There has to be something happening here first. Which is fair. It's a fair thing to say. And I think that is an evolution of Sander's character that's very interesting. It's cool that it has been happening more in the background than in the foreground. And every time he's in the foreground, he just like dismisses it. He doesn't talk about it. But I think it's definitely present. Anyway, so this whole branch of this discussion came from the idea that I'm starting to see, and you see it at the end of this episode too. You see Anya and Buffy and Harmony, and they're all just being sad lovers, really, just walking and thinking to themselves, which I thought was a really cool shot. It's a really cool ending. But now I'm starting to think that like maybe something that this episode was trying to do was depicting different kinds of relationships, and they all fucked. Actually, there was a moment where I was like, why is everyone fucking? And it's like, well, I think that was the point. Everyone's banging, because at the end of the episode, what you're supposed to like look at is the relationship for all of these girls, and what that was like for them, and why it was the way it was. And what's interesting is that for all of them, I mean, not Buffy, because who gives a shit about Parker, but for Spike and Sander, like, there is actually something to them that you can like try and follow and understand, maybe even empathize a little bit. Mostly Sander than Spike, because Spike just hate fucked Harmony, but it's like Spike is an antagonist, and he's not necessarily a cool guy. He's not a good guy. So like that's one of those things where like, yeah, he would do that. I follow that. But you still kind of get Spike because he hasn't let Drusilla go yet. You know, he keeps thinking about her. There was a moment where Harmony gave her like a nickname or something, and Spike was just like, Drusilla, say her name. And it's this thing where like Spike just doesn't like Harmony, and Harmony keeps teasing him, and then they fuck. And it's like, well, like, I guess that's the kind of relationship they have, but like, you can tell that that's not healthy because one party just doesn't like the other party. So then later in the episode, when they actually fight each other, I'm like, okay, yes, this makes sense. But now it's interesting that at the end of the episode, Harmony is like someone that you're following, and I have thoughts to say about Harmony in a second. But it's cool that you get to see her being sad, Anya being sad, Buffy being sad. And with Anya, it's interesting because I just talk about Sander's like perspective and why he wouldn't want to have sex. And the thing is that you understand why Sander doesn't want to have sex, and then when he does, and then the things that he says and how he feels like, you know, like that wasn't something I should have done, that didn't feel very good. It was just like body slapping each other. Like it wasn't actually, there wasn't a connection forming. The thing is that Anya is also coming from a place where she doesn't get it either. Because again, Anya is not human. I mean, she's human now, but she's not mentally human, I guess. She hasn't had human experiences. So she's learning for the first time. And what's happening is that Anya feels also rejected. And Anya might not even be able to put into words why she feels the way that she feels, because she doesn't get what she's feeling. And like, you can even tell when she comes and talks to Sander, not only she's incredibly direct, she literally like lays down a plan for her and Sander to have sexual intercourse, and she like describes it, and like we cut into it, so it is implied that she's been saying things for a while. And at one moment she's like, yeah, sexual intercourse. I said it like 20 times. Like she like made like a mental list and a plan of attack. And Sander is just like, this is not something you like plan. This is not something that you like execute. This is something that happens because two people care for one another. But he's not able to say that. He's saying it a little bit, but he's also not explicitly telling Anya how this should be working. Because I also understand that on some level, Sander, first of all, maybe doesn't understand Anya, and second, he doesn't trust Anya. Anya's like this like demon that kill people or whatever. And then any second that he spends with her, he's uncomfortable because she keeps talking about like, oh yeah, that one time I killed that one dude. And Sander's just like, oh no, this feels weird. And he is already feeling weird about connections and intimacy from before. So Anya is not helping Sander, and Sander is also not helping Anya. Instead of actually helping her out, he's like trying to like shift away from her, just like, I don't want to deal with that. But then she keeps coming to him, making him more averse towards her. So she feels like shit, and she doesn't understand why she feels like shit. She doesn't understand what she is doing might be wrong, or it could be perceived as wrong. And Sander is not making an attempt at actually helping her out. Personally, I would love Anya to be my girlfriend. Honestly, I would help her out. I would give her a hand. I would be like, hell yeah, girl, tell me about all those people that you killed. That's awesome. And I would be like, you know what? I'm happy that you don't understand how to be human, because honestly, fuck whatever we invented. Like, I'm glad that you are the way that you are. She's perfect. Anya's great. I love Anya. Rip to Sander, but I'm different. So that's another relationship that this episode showed a lot. And it's interesting in how different it is from like Buffy's. Because coming back to Parker, it's always very interesting whenever this happens, because it's not the first time it's happening. Whenever we get a boy that Buffy has a crush on or whatever. And every time I'm like, there is a kissing scene happening in front of me, and then there's might be a sex scene happening in front of me, and I'm just sitting here just like looking into the distance, just like, it's happening. There's some scoring happening in front of me. I don't really care for what is going on, and the reason why I don't care is because who is this fool, right? I'm looking at Parker and I'm like, who is this guy? I don't trust him. Therefore, I don't care for him. I'm looking at it and I'm like, I don't know anything about him. Therefore, I don't trust him. And this show has also taught me to not trust anybody. So I'm seeing this happen and I'm like, for Buffy's sake, I hope that you don't turn out to be 1 evil, 2 dead, 3 a douchebag by the end of this episode, within like 10 minutes. I hope that that's not the reveal, for Buffy's sake. But that's really all I have to say on the matter. And then it happens and I'm like, well, there it is. Anyway, what was the point? And the point was to make Buffy miserable. I guess that there was more of a point in this episode regarding relationships with multiple characters, but every time it happens with Buffy, it feels a little bit forced, except with Angel. Angel is cool, because Angel is actually a character, right? And that's where I'm coming in here. Having a storyline regarding Buffy's relationship with Angel and what difficulties they have then. Because one of them is a vampire, and if he loves too much and fucks, then he might turn evil and lose control or whatever. And it's like, yeah, okay, there is a character here. We follow Angel. We like Angel. We trust Angel. At least I do. I think Angel's cool. And that is a real character that we have followed for a time. So whenever we develop an actual relationship between these two characters, we are able to care about the relationship because we care about the characters. In this episode, and this is not the first time it happens, we don't know jack shit about the guy that's hooking up with Buffy. And the first thought you're gonna have every time is like, are you a real character or are you just some dude who wants to get laid? And if we always default to you're just some dude who wants to get laid, then what the fuck are we doing here? There's really nothing for me to care here. The only thing I can care about is how Buffy feels. And I think that the more we push this button, the Buffy's miserable about relationships button, the less effective it is. So that's how I feel about this regarding on the Buffy side. I think whatever is happening between Sander and Anya is like infinitely more interesting. But I also think, and this is the reason why I brought all of this up, is that I was thinking that I think the point of this episode was more contrasting relationships, you know, how different they can be, and they are. Who is the problem and what, how complex or how shallow they can be. I actually do give the usage of Parker and him being with Buffy this episode, I actually give it a pass because I think that it works in a contrast with everything else that happened in the episode. And also, Harmony. Let's talk about Harmony. Never thought I'd see Harmony again, not gonna lie to you. That is a character that I was like, who gives a fuck, you know? Like, when she showed up, I was like, you look recognizable. And the way this shot is being framed, it looks like I should know who you are. They go Harmony, and I'm like, Harmony. Yes, the bully girl that hang up with Cordelia a couple times, I think. And the only reason I remember her name is because in the last episode of season 3, when they were collecting all of the students to come and help, there was one scene where I think it was Sander went and was like, Harmony, and I'm like, who? And then he grabbed the girl and it was like, come with us or whatever, and I'm like, okay, that's Harmony. That's the only reason I know her name. Anyway, she comes back and she's a vampire. Okay. She has a whole relationship thing going on with Spike. Spike came back. Awesome. Man, this discussion is going to be long. Like, I'm looking at the time. It's around like half an hour. A bunch of that was dead air, actually. I haven't even started talking about Spike yet. But, okay, Harmony. She's in a relationship with Spike, and Spike came back, and it's cool. And thing is that their relationship dynamic this episode was a more... I suppose it was a super toxic one. Like, all of the relationships presented in this episode have issues. However, some issues are bigger than others. Parker's just a fuckboy that wants to get laid, so who gives a shit about him? Let's just put him away. Fuck that guy, we don't talk about him. Sander has personal issues regarding his life, and Anya doesn't understand human, so that creates conflict just on its own. But Spike is someone that actually has feelings for Drusilla still. She dumped him, and he's in a stage where he's above just moping for her, which is what he was doing last season. Now he's back and he's doing some quest for a holy grail shit, which might be his way of coping, but also he has a new girlfriend, which is Harmony. However, he doesn't care about Harmony. He doesn't like his new girlfriend or whatever. She's the only one that actually tries to maintain some sort of relationship, and she keeps teasing him and stuff, and I guess that kind of works, but not in a good way, because essentially Harmony is just ignoring every time that Spike says, I fucking hate you, and then she just keeps teasing him until Spike just says, you know what, fuck you, and then he fucks her out of anger. And that's interesting because, with Drusilla, he was actually very caring about his relationship with Drusilla. He was actually not mean to her. He was very concerned for her, and that was kind of cute. Now we see him in a much more, spiteful, angry version of himself, where he's being teased by someone he hates, and it's just a reminder of the fact that he doesn't have Drusilla. And even when they fuck, they're talking about Drusilla. So it's like Spike is coming from this place where he just got dumped, and he's trying not to think about it, and he's relapsing into I need someone with me so I don't think about it, because being alone is worse. Just being alone and being left to just be sad thinking about your ex, that doesn't work. So instead, he just defaults to the nearest woman he can find, and he's like, you'll do the job or whatever, which is not a cool thing to do. Is incredibly toxic, but it seems like this is the place where he's coming from, because he doesn't actually care about Harmony. He doesn't even like Harmony, but why are they together if that's the case? And the reason why is because he just wants someone to be there. The person he really wants is Drusilla, and he's just using Harmony as just someone to be there, so he doesn't think about Drusilla, just as a way to convince himself I don't need her, I have this girl, whatever, I guess. That's his weird coping mechanism. And it sucks for Harmony, because Harmony actually does care about him. She actually does care about this relationship. She actually does like him. So now it is a vampire abusive relationship, contrary to a vampire healthy relationship, which I guess was Spike and Drusilla, because even though that looked toxic, it seems like that was the healthy one, but this one seems to be the abusive one. And while the episode was happening, I mentioned for a second, but I didn't get to fully explain my thoughts. Spike is an interesting character because you kind of like him more the more he shows up. And what I mean by that is that he shows up in season 2, and by the end of season 2 he actually helps. He's an ally. In season 3 he shows up for one episode and he's just moping about his girlfriend who dumped him, and it's kind of sad and kind of fun and endearing. He also gives advice to Buffy and Angel, not really advised, but kind of advised. And then in this episode, he shows up and like he's still sad about his girlfriend. Like it's interesting because Spike is an incredibly human vampire. And this was always the case since he showed up for the first time. But now it's even more so because he's like sad and annoying. That makes him fun to follow. That makes him a little bit more like relatable in a way. But at the same time, he's having an abusive relationship with her, like Harmony. But that just means that Spike becomes an interesting character, where he's just not a bad dude. He's not just an evil dude. He's someone that's just sad that his girlfriend dumped him and is like acting out of all of this emotion impulses that he's feeling. But also he's a vampire and evil. That's cool. I like that. I like that about his character we're developing here. And also I like that this is what Harmony has become now. Because, like, when I say that Harmony was not a character I ever expected to see again, I mean, I kind of didn't, but I kind of did, but I kind of didn't. What I mean by that is that Harmony's dead. Her body got replaced with a demon. So that's not Harmony. That's Vampire Harmony, which is a different person. It's a demon. However, something I noticed while I was watching the episode, and just in general, is that the Harmony vampire seems to be strongly based off of real Harmony. Because I was watching this and I was like, why is she so like ditzy? Why is she just like such a party girl? Why does she want all of these things? And the answer is because she's Harmony. Harmony was a party girl, so the vampire version of Harmony is also a party girl. And this is something that I feel like it's not a retcon, but it starts to feel a little bit like this wasn't the original plan with the show when it first came out, but it is becoming it now. And I think it's the fact that like vampires retain something about the original human that possessed the body. Because originally in the show, it was just like, well, a demon takes over your body and you're dead, and it's just a demon actually. The further we have gone with Buffy, even starting with season 2 actually with Spike and Drusilla, we have actually made an attempt to humanize vampires a little bit. Spike and Drusilla are vampires that they do kind of feel human because they do have a relationship, and now they have relationship issues. And all of those things are very human. And we have gotten a lot of vampires that do have like some strong personalities, something like Mr. Trick. And I even like a couple of the things that Mr. Trick said in season 3. Like, I remember the first episode he showed up, he talked about like how this town is like way too white or whatever. And I'm like, that's like weird for a vampire that shouldn't give a shit about these things to say. And now I'm like, well, he did give a shit, probably. And the reason why he gave a shit is because maybe the person that originally possessed the body actually gave a shit. So the vampire gives a shit too. And I think the biggest, like, proof of this is, like, the implied bisexuality of Willow from the doppelganger episode, where Willow says about how her vampire version of her from the alternate timeline was a little gay, and then they just tell Willow like, oh well, don't worry, like that wasn't you, that was just a vampire possessing her body. It doesn't retain any of your original things that are part of you. And I remember Angel just said like, well, actually, and that was just a joke. But I'm thinking that that is something that, like, moving forward is becoming more and more of a thing. Something that maybe wasn't completely defined at the beginning of the show, but now, after a couple seasons, they're just starting to go like, you know what, this is so much more interesting. You know, so vampires retain a little bit of the original human version of them. And this is something that Harmony got me thinking, because we get Harmony in this episode, and, like, she doesn't feel bad this episode. At the beginning of the episode, she's kind of bad, but then halfway through the episode, you just start feeling bad for her. And then at the end of the episode, she's just literally just crying in a room because her boyfriend dumped her and was abusive to her, tried to kill her. And she's just like, why did he do that to me? And it's just like, interesting, the humanization of vampires that I feel like wasn't there at the beginning, but now I think it's in here in full force. And I think it's something that they gradually started to realize. I guess Angelus the demon is just such a ruthless and bad demon. He just doesn't feel bad at all about all of the things that he does. But, like, even Angelus had some weird feelings towards Buffy, which I suppose is something that retained from his real version of Angel. So, yeah, I suppose that also was a little bit of a hint too. But at the same time, it does make it weird whenever it's like, well, Angel is a vampire that regains his soul back, and it's like, well, but all of these vampires do seem to have a little bit left in them still. So it's weird to me, you know. It's interesting. I suppose maybe we're just making a distinction between what is a soul and what is just like a brain, because if you just show up in the body and you're a demon and this is your new place to live and it's like, hi, what's up? You have the same brain, and maybe you have all the memories and all the things that happen in your brain, and we can argue that emotions are also, I mean, because they are just a bunch of chemicals in your brain and shit. So maybe the vampires, the demons that show up in there, they are demons and they know they're demons and they want to cause chaos and mayhem, but then they have all this human shit running through them at the same time, and they're like, damn, that's weird. I don't know what to do here. So maybe that's the direction we're going for here, which I think is a lot more interesting than before, when vampires were just vampires, just demons, and we just kill them and that's it. I feel like now we're making a much more better attempt at making some of these vampires just a lot more human, have traits, have desires, wants, needs, actually make them characters, and that makes them fun. So I like that. And that I feel like came through a lot here with Harmony and then Spike. So I think that was really cool. This was a good episode, you know? Because, like, last episode, I'm like, well, I don't know what the fuck we were doing with Katie, but the episode just ended and I was like, well, that was Katie, I guess. And I didn't really have much to say. This episode feels like I had a lot to say. You can tell that I just kept going about relationships and about like Sander and Anya and Spike and everybody here. It's just really cool. I'm talking about like the nature of vampires and shit. It's like this episode I think had a lot here. I'm a big fan of it. I suppose the final thing I can talk about it maybe is how the ring, what is it with you, man? Come on. I mean, it's just the MacGuffin of the episode. You know, it's just like, well, Spike is doing something and then he gets it and then he's immortal and then he just is not. Like, it's always fun whenever we have like some kind of like big power up that is supposed to make you undefeatable or something, and then we just fist fight for like 30 seconds as we do every episode, and then you lose. And it's just like every time, like I remember the new Watcher, that was the fake Watcher, she gained the power of God or whatever and she started controlling lightning and shit. She's like Thor, and then she just like loses in like 30 seconds, just like everybody else in the show. And it's always like, yeah, well, Spike found the equivalent of the Philosopher's Stone, the holy grail of power, and then he's like, hey, look at my ring, and then Buffy just takes the ring and it's like, oh, that's just it. It's just like, it's a little bit funny, not gonna lie. The ring was there entirely so that when I may watch Angel 1-3, Oz is gonna show up and he's gonna be like, hey, I got a gift for you from Buffy. And he's like, what? And then he puts it on and then he realizes he can walk in the sun and he's like, sick, now we can film during the day, which I think they already did in episode 2. Like when I was watching Angel season 1 episode 2, I think there was one shot where Angel was walking in daylight and I was like, isn't that daylight? And you can't see the skyline, so you can't tell if it's daylight or not, but it's bright enough that I'm looking at it and I'm like, it's daylight, motherfucker. Like, they filmed the shit at like 3 p.m. Like, that's daylight, motherfucker. Like, you can't trick me. So like, I feel like this was written, this fucking ring is here just so they can have, first of all, a tie to Angel, which is something there. It is a cool thing to tie in a show to the other. However, I mean, I've only seen it twice now. First with the phone call, and now with what I'm expecting the ring is going to be the next time I watch Angel. But I feel like if they do it too much, I'm just going to start feeling like every time I see something that is unresolved in a Buffy episode or in an Angel episode, and it seems like it's going to tie into the other show, I'm just going to start feeling like it's literally just the show going, and then the other show going, and I'm just going to be watching the two of them, and I'm like, I get it, but like after a certain point, it's just gonna start feeling a little bit annoying. So I hope we don't do it too much. Like, it's fun to have knots every now and then, but like if we do it too much, it's just gonna start feeling like, man, I don't know about this. Okay, I have a question. What was the airing schedule for these episodes? My more immediate comparison that I can do to Buffy and Angel is Doctor Who and Torchwood. Again, if you're someone that's immediately commenting, Russell T Davies wasn't viral, shut up, I know that. I've known that for years now. That is the more immediate comparison I can do. And I'm pretty sure, I'm not positive, but I'm pretty sure that the way the airing of those shows worked was like Torchwood runs for a couple months, and then Doctor Who runs for a couple months, and then Torchwood runs for a couple months, and it's like they didn't run simultaneously. But I'm thinking that Buffy and Angel actually did run simultaneously, maybe. And in the more immediate comparison, I feel like I probably prefer the Torchwood method more. That makes it so Torchwood is removed from Doctor Who, but then at the end you can have some form of connection, which is what they did. Torchwood and Doctor Who did connect a couple of times, but it was mostly removed from the main Torchwood storyline. I would like it if that was the case with Angel as well. I don't want every other episode to have something that links the two shows together. I would like it for Angel to just completely stand on its own legs, and then after like 15 episodes, Buffy shows up, and I'm just like, whoa, what the fuck? And it's like, yeah, we're doing this now, and it's a crossover episode or whatever. And that might be what they do, actually. But right now, out of the 3 episodes of Angel I'm watching, and out of the 3 episodes of Buffy I'm watching, 2 of them have a direct connection from one to the other, and I'm like, okay, hope we don't do that too much, because I would like for these episodes to be more removed and only interlinked whenever they have a really cool concept for a really good story. And that's something I'm gonna be like, okay, that's good, I want to see that. So that's my take on The Ring. It's literally just a device for Angel to be filmed during daytime. So that's why it's happening in episode 3. It's very early on. We have like 19 episodes to go, so now Angel can just be Batman also during the day, not just during the night, and just have another like cool linking thing that they can do between the two shows, just to be like, hey people, you can watch our other show where Angel is in and he has a cool ring now. Buffy should just put up a poster of Batman on her wall and just be like, man, Batman is so fucking cool. And then she just looks into the camera and is like, I heard it's airing at 7 p.m. on Fox every Thursday. It's just like, she just fucking does an ad for Angel and it just disguises as Batman, and I would be super down for that. I think that would be the best thing they could do, because that's what Angel is, and it's really fun. Anyway, I think that's gonna be it for my video on this episode. I don't know what else to say. I like Anya. That's it. I like Anya. I want to see more Anya. Pretty much everything besides Parker was fun, so I really like all of that. I mean, I can talk about relations wrong with Buffy and how Buffy feels, how at the end she's like blaming herself instead of him, and it's like, we've done this before. I don't feel like I have to say anything on that again. I think I can just move on from that. Whatever you can see from Buffy, it's just present on the episode. You can just see it, so there's nothing for me to say there. I'm just looking at it from like a writing perspective. I don't care much for Parker, and I feel like we have done this several times already, but I can accept it because I feel like it fits somewhat good into the episode idea regarding relationships and the parallels you have between them. Hi, sorry, it's like 3 a.m. for me right now, so it's pretty late, so I'll make this quick. But I was just finishing editing the episode, and I was just rewatching the scene where Parker tells Buffy the reasons like why he didn't call her or whatever. And like, originally when I recorded this, I didn't really want to talk too much about this because honestly my reaction immediately is just being like, fuck this guy, whatever. I don't want to deal with it because it just makes me feel uncomfortable, so I didn't want to talk about it. But I figure I might as well just do it. But like, I just want to point out, and the only reason I want to do it is because it's very clear when you actually rewatch the words that he's using. When Buffy's saying fun, is that all it was? Like, a lot of the things he's saying is something like... First of all, he's saying, like, I'm starting to feel like you thought that meant what? Some kind of commitment? Is that really what you want right now? Like, first of all, that's deflecting and actually putting the blame on her for being clueless or whatever. Which also feeds into how Buffy feels like she did something wrong or whatever. So, like, this is why this sucks. This is why this is the worst. And I did mention that he was manipulative before, but, like, I don't know, I hate it. Let me keep going. So he says that he tries to pretend, and he did the same with the other girl that was just here in the same scene, you know, just like, oh, you're gonna be late for class, but like he's like, oh, do you really want some kind of commitment right now, you know, just like he's like thinking about you but not really. That's just like his excuse in order to be a womanizer. And then he says, and this is a thing that people do, and you have to like point it out. He says, look, I'm sorry if you misunderstood something, which is, that's not an apology. That's him saying it's your fault for misunderstanding. And I don't know, it's one of those things where like, if you've dealt with like manipulating people before, your reaction to shit like this is gonna be like incredibly just, you're gonna feel like this is gross, and you're just gonna be like, oh fuck this, I don't want to deal with this. And that's how I felt when I watched it. So that's why I didn't really want to talk about this character too much, but like I should. And all I have to say is that picking apart the words that he's using and the things that he's saying, it becomes even more clear how much he like doesn't give a shit and how manipulative everything he says is, which also feeds into Buffy feeling insecure and feeling like she did something wrong during the episode and at the end of the episode. He goes like, I thought things were pretty clear. It's like, even Buffy replies with, I didn't mean to misunderstand. I'm sorry. And then Parker's just like, you know, look, I really have to go now. And then he just leaves. Like, fuck that character. Like, earlier I was thinking, you know, when I started editing the episode a couple hours ago, I was thinking like, maybe Parker will show up again, you know, maybe he will actually be a character, because they really did spend a significant amount of time with him this episode. You know, he kept talking and having lines and shit. But like now, after I see that, I'm like, I don't want to have this character again. I hope he fucking dies. Like, he's such a piece of shit. Originally I didn't think that we would, and now watching that scene again, I feel the exact same way. I don't want him again. And the only reason I'm recording this is because I feel like I need to point out how the language and the words that he's using is incredibly manipulative. And it's not just that, it's like even early in the episode he's like, you know, like, all my problems are, you know, psychological, you know, my dad died and shit like that. And then you see him again with the other girl and he's doing the exact same bit, you know. And even when he's talking with Buffy, he's playing this persona of someone who's like caring but mysterious, and that's like everything he says. He like pretends to be sensible, and it's just like, that is a well-written character, and he's written to be the absolute worst character. I suppose that's what I have to say. So whoever wrote that character definitely like knew what they were doing, but also fuck that character. I hope he dies. I hope he dies, and I hope he dies off screen. Like, it doesn't matter, we just see his corpse. That's how I feel about it. I'm sorry, but like, I personally feel really gross when I see a character like that. So that's all I have to say on that character and the situation with Buffy, because like, it makes way more sense how Buffy feels like she's doing something wrong, like she feels insecure. And again, the relationship was sexual, and for Buffy that's something that's so like new, because it happened once before, but it's also tied to some negative emotions, you know. I unleashed a demon that killed people by doing so, and this time it feels like maybe it was more real, but then it's like wasn't. It's just some dude that betrayed her trust, and she doesn't even feel like her trust was betrayed. She feels like she's dumb for not understanding what the relationship was to begin with. And it's like, ugh, come on, like, that sucks, but whatever. Anyway, I'm recording this just because of that, just because I didn't say this before, and I figured I should at some point. So yeah, anyway, there's just an extra thing I'm gonna add to the video, because I need to make things more difficult for myself when it comes to editing. But yeah, yeah, that's it. Go back to your original video. I don't even know where I'm gonna slot this in. I'm just gonna slot it sometime near the end of the discussion or whatever. Oh, by the way, by this point I have watched Angel 1-3, and like, why is it gonna be like that? Why does it have to be so fucking edgy and brooding? You could have just stayed in the ring, my guy. Like, why did it? Anyway, that guy was shot with a crossbow in the middle of fucking daylight, and then he was like tackled underwater by a man on fire, and then only one of them came out of the water, and nobody gave a shit. Angel's fun. Anyway, that's it. See you guys next time. Bye. And alright everyone, thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. If you'd like to watch the next 2 episodes already, full-length reactions, as well as some Angel watch-alongs I'm doing, you can do so over at Patreon. Check out the links below, social media, all sorts of cool stuff that I do. I'll see you guys next time. Take care everybody. Bye.